The beam erupts from nowhere. Blinding, pure white, 22 million candle power tearing through the Atlantic darkness like a fallen star. On the conning tower of U-502, Kapitänleutnant Jürgen von Rosenstiel freezes. His diesels are still running, batteries charging, crew relaxed after weeks hunting Allied convoys. They'd been invisible 30 seconds ago. Now they're naked. The Wellington bomber is already overhead. 4 depth charges are falling. Von Rosenstiel screams the order to dive, but physics doesn't care. A Type 9C submarine needs 45 seconds to submerge. The light gives them 8. One crewman doesn't make it below. This is the Bay of Biscay, July 5, 1942, and everything the German Kriegsmarine thought they knew about night operations just became obsolete. For 2 years, darkness had been the U-boat's ally. Surface after sunset, run your diesels, recharge, breathe. RAF Coastal Command could barely see you even with their new radar. The ocean swallowed you whole. Hunting you was like searching for a shadow in a coal mine. Until someone mounted a searchlight on an airplane. Stay with this story. The device was called the Lee Light. 610 millimeters of carbon arc brilliance, retractable, controllable, devastating. In the 5 months before it entered service, not one U-boat had been sunk in the Bay of Biscay. 6 British aircraft were lost. In the first month after, the numbers reversed. U-502 is going down now, bow first, trailing oil and bodies. Pilot Officer Wiley B. Howell, an American volunteer in the RAF, circles once, watching the swirl mark where 51 men just died. He'll be awarded the Distinguished Flying Cross within weeks. Below him, the Atlantic keeps its secrets. But from this night forward, the night itself keeps nothing.
March 1941. Britain is bleeding from 1,000 cuts, all of them underwater. The Battle of the Atlantic isn't romantic, it's mathematical. Every week, German U-boats sink more tonnage than British shipyards can replace. Food, fuel, ammunition, hope, all of it rests on merchant ships that keep disappearing into the deep. Admiral Karl Dönitz, commander of the U-boat fleet, has refined his doctrine to lethal simplicity. Wolfbacks by night, scatter by day. His submarines transit through the Bay of Biscay, the choke point between French ports and the Atlantic hunting grounds. At night, they're untouchable. The British have radar, air-to-surface vessel Mark II, operational since late 1941. It can detect a surfaced submarine at 5 miles. Problem is, the radar has a minimum range of 1 kilometer. As the aircraft closes, the target disappears from the screen. By the time pilots can see anything, the U-boat is diving, vanishing, gone. Coastal Command tries flares. Drop one, circle, look, drop another. It takes minutes. U-boats need 45 seconds to crash dive. The math doesn't work. Intelligence reports are stark. Shipping losses approaching 600,000 tons per month. If this rate continues, Britain will be starved into surrender before America's industrial might can tip the scales. Then an RAF personnel officer named Humphrey DeVerd Lee starts talking to returning bomber crews. He's not an engineer, not a combat pilot, just a wing commander who asks good questions and actually listens to the answers. The crews tell him about the gap, that maddening kilometer where radar goes blind and eyeballs are useless. Lee goes home, draws sketches, does math. What if you just turned on a searchlight? Not complicated, not elegant, just a massive carbon arc lamp pointing forward, switched on the instant before the submarine disappears. The Air Ministry will hate the idea. He builds it anyway, in secret.
Spring 1941, a workshop in Watford. Savage and Parsons Limited, a company that makes turrets, not miracles. But Jack Savage takes one look at Lee's sketches and sees the elegance in the brutality. A 24-inch naval searchlight. Carbon arc technology, the same kind that sweeps the skies for German bombers over London, except this one points down, retractable, mounted in what the crews will call a dustbin under the fuselage. The engineering problems arrive in waves. Weight, 1,100 pounds for the turret assembly. The Wellington barely tolerates it. Power, a carbon arc this size needs massive electrical current. They solve it by cannibalizing a Wellington already modified for magnetic minesweeping. It has a generator for running the electromagnetic ring. Perfect. Control. The bombardier needs to aim it independently while tracking radar and preparing depth charges. Fraser Nash, the turret company, designs a hydraulic system, motor and ram, smooth, responsive. Heat. The arc burns at temperatures that could melt steel. Ventilation channels, protective housing, constant monitoring. Then there's the ministry. Lee presents his prototype without permission. The Air Ministry's response? Interesting, but we're going with the turbine light instead. The turbine light is a nose-mounted searchlight developed for night fighters. Wide beam, fixed forward, already in development. Official, approved. Also completely wrong for submarine hunting. Lee doesn't argue, he just keeps testing. Sir Frederick Bowhill, Commander-in-Chief of Coastal Command, watches the demonstration and overrides the ministry. May 4, 1941, first live test. British submarine H-31 surfaces off the coast. Lee himself at the controls. The beam snaps on. The submarine is frozen in perfect clarity, every rivet visible. The submarine crew reports they were completely blind, couldn't see the aircraft, couldn't judge distance, couldn't escape. Production begins immediately.
June 3, 1942, 1:27 a.m. Bay of Biscay. Squadron leader J.H. Gresswell's Wellington picks up a radar contact. 16 miles. Closing. The ASV Mark II screen shows a clean return. Surfaced submarine, probably Italian, running on diesels toward the West Indies. Gresswell follows procedure. Approaches on radar. Altitude 800 feet. Speed 180 knots. At 1 mile, the contact vanishes from the screen. Now, his bombardier flips the switch. The dustbin rotates down. The arc ignites. Day becomes night, becomes day again in a strobe that burns the darkness like magnesium. Below, on the conning tower of the Italian submarine Luigi Torelli, the commander stands paralyzed. The light is impossible, biblical. His lookouts scream, covering their eyes. Anti-aircraft guns swing wildly, firing blind. Gresswell releases 4 depth charges. They straddle the submarine. Water erupts. The Torelli shudders, takes damage, begins listing. But she's still alive. The commander orders emergency dive, crashes below, limps toward neutral Spain at 4 knots, leaking. She'll make it, barely, reaching Santander on June 8 after 2 more attacks by Sunderlands who find her trailing oil. But the proof of concept is absolute. The crew hadn't known what hit them. The light gave no warning. Radar was silent until the last second. Then, apocalypse. 1 month later, July 5th, same sea, different outcome. Pilot Officer Wiley B. Howell, American volunteer, 172 Squadron. Another radar contact, another approach, another ignition. U-502 doesn't limp anywhere. The depth charges find their mark. 51 men die in 90 seconds. First confirmed kill. 172 Squadron's combat reports flood back to headquarters. Target completely surprised. No defensive fire until after weapon release. Submarine unable to submerge in time. The weapon works. The ocean war just pivoted on a searchlight beam.
Coastal Command watches the data accumulate with something approaching religious fervor. First 5 months of 1942, Bay of Biscay patrols, 0 submarines sunk, 6 aircraft lost. June through August 1942, with Lee Light deployment, submarine sightings increase from 14 to 37 per month, 4 confirmed kills, 8 damaged. The intelligence assessments start tentatively, then build to certainty. The Germans are changing tactics in real time. By mid-July, U-boats begin surfacing during daylight, counterintuitive, suicidal even, but the calculus is shifted. In daylight, lookouts can see aircraft approaching. Anti-aircraft guns can track targets. Crews have seconds to prepare, to fight back, to dive with warning. At night, they have nothing. The Lee Light doesn't just hunt submarines, it rewrites doctrine. Donitz's headquarters in Paris receive patrol reports that read like ghost stories. Aircraft appeared without warning, blinded by unknown illumination source, no radar detection prior to attack. German naval intelligence works the problem. Captured RAF documents, interrogations of downed aircrew. By August, they understand what they're facing. The response is methodical. Every U-boat receives new orders. Abandon night surface transits through the bay. If you must surface for battery charging, do it with maximum vigilance. Post extra lookouts. Prepare for instant dive. But preparation isn't survival. Allied shipping losses plummet from 600,000 tons per month to 200,000. The North Atlantic convoy routes stabilize. Merchant crews start believing they might actually make it to port. Strategic planners in London run projections. If this rate holds, if the Lee Light can maintain this pressure, the arithmetic of starvation reverses. But the Germans are already working their countermeasure. A small French company in occupied Paris, a radio engineer named Matox Grandin, and a wooden cross wrapped in wire that can hear radar whispers from 30 miles away.
August 17, 1942.
2:34 a.m. Position 46 degrees 40 north, 7 degrees 20 west. Flight Sergeant Davies hunches over the ASV radar in the Wellington's belly, watching the green sweep paint ghosts across the scope. Nothing for 2 hours. Then, contact, bearing 090, range 18 miles. The pilot banks hard, throttles forward. The twin Bristol Pegasus engines climb to a roar that drowns thought. Davies tracks the blibs. 14 miles, 12, holding steady course, he's not diving. In the cockpit, hands move through drill. Altitude down to 800 feet, speed 180 knots, bombardier to stations. 10 miles. The submarine is running diesels at full chat, recharging batteries, crew on the tower smoking cigarettes, believing themselves invisible in the dock. 6 miles. The pilot clicks his throat mic. Bombardier ready? Ready. 4 miles. 3. The radar contact dissolves into noise, minimum range. Light. The bombardier throws the switch, hydraulics whine, the dustbin rotates down, the carbon arc ignites, and suddenly the ocean isn't an ocean anymore, it's a stage lit for execution. The U-boat is frozen in perfect detail. Conning tower, deck gun, men scrambling, one lookout pointing up, mouth open in a scream no one can hear. Depth charges fall on a stick, the bombardier counts. 1, 2, 3, 4. The U-boat's anti-aircraft gun opens fire, tracers arc up, wild, desperate. One punches through the Wellington's port wing, does nothing. The depth charges hit. 4 geysers erupt in sequence, perfectly straddled. The submarine bucks like a living thing. Her bow lifts, water cascades, men tumble into the sea. She's going down. But she's not. Not yet. She's diving on purpose, damaged but functional, hemorrhaging air, racing for depth. The Wellington circles. Oil blooms on surface. Bodies. The submarine is still down there. Hurt. Hunted. Running out of options.
The physics of the Lee light is simple brutality. Carbon arc lamps work through electrical discharge between carbon electrodes. Current jumps the gap, ionizes the air, creates plasma bright enough to mimic sunlight. At 22 million candle power, some installations reaching 50 million, the beam is visible from 10 miles away. The reflector is pure engineering genius. 24 inches of parabolic mirror, rhodium-plated for maximum reflectivity. It focuses the scattered arc into a coherent beam with spreading lenses that can be adjusted for width. 2 operational variants exist. Turret type, Wellington, 24-inch searchlight, retractable under turret, hydraulic motor and ram control. Maximum intensity 50 million candelellas without spreading lens, 20 million with lens. Weight 1,100 pounds. Nacelle type, Catalina Liberator, 20-inch searchlight, 32-inch nacelle slung from wing bomb lux, electrical controls, 90 million candelellas without lens, 17 million with lens, weight 870 pounds. Power sources vary. Early installations used generators borrowed from magnetic minesweeping Wellingtons. Later models carry dedicated battery packs, massive lead-acid arrays that add hundreds of pounds but eliminate generator noise and vibration. The tactical employment is ruthlessly precise. Aircraft approaches on radar. At approximately 1 kilometer range, where ASV Mark II loses the contact, the light activates. Submarine crews experience instantaneous night blindness, pupils dilated for darkness suddenly constricted to pinpoints. They cannot see the attacking aircraft, cannot judge altitude or distance, cannot aim defensive weapons effectively. The light remains on for approximately 20 to 30 seconds during the attack run. Longer risks battery depletion. Shorter gives insufficient illumination for accurate bombing. Temperature management is critical. The arc generates extreme heat. Without proper ventilation, the housing can warp, the reflector can degrade, and the carbon electrodes burn away faster than rated. Maintenance crews replace electrodes every 15 operational hours. War measured in candle power.
The U-boat crews call it Das Teufelslicht, the devil's light. Survivors report the same sensations. The radar detector, if they have one, gives 30 seconds warning, maybe. The crew scrambles, lookouts scan the darkness, diesel engines push the boat toward diving speed. Then, nothing unless you have experienced it. The night is absolute. Then suddenly the sun is born beneath an aircraft. Your eyes burn, you see nothing but white. Your brain cannot process it. You freeze. The psychological impact cascades. U-boat operations depend on crew confidence. Submariners are volunteers, men who choose to fight in steel coffins, trusting their training and their boat. The Lee light breaks that contract, because you can do everything right and still die. You can post vigilant lookouts, you can maintain radio silence,
You can follow every procedure Donut's headquarters transmits, and the light still finds you. Commander Hans Banker of U-625 drowns on January 2, 1944, because he countermands a crash dive to retrieve the Naxos radar detector from the tower. The submarine goes under anyway. Both men lost. That's the calculus. Do you abandon expensive equipment? Do you leave men topside? Do you trust the detector that might be giving false positives? Every decision becomes a gamble with death as the ante. RAF interrogation reports document increasing stress in captured U-boat crews, sleep deprivation, hypervigilance during surface transits, younger sailors requesting transfer to surface vessels. Some U-boats begin surfacing during daytime despite greater aircraft presence. The logic is primal. Better to see death coming than to have it materialize from nowhere. By late 1942, the psychological warfare is measurable. U-boat operational effectiveness declines independent of actual losses. Fear is a weapon. The Lee light weaponizes it perfectly.
August 1942. A small French company in occupied Paris develops Germany's answer. The FMUB-1 METOX 600A radar warning receiver. A wooden cross wrapped with wire, mounted on the conning tower, hand-rotated by the watch officer. Primitive, effective. It detects ASV Mark II transmissions at ranges up to 30 miles, 5 times farther than the radar can detect the submarine. The receiver converts radar pulses into audible beeps. When the beeps double in frequency, the radar has switched to close range. Submarine detected. Dive immediately. U-128 tests it in September. 5 aircraft detected, 5 successful dives, 0 attacks. Within weeks, every operational U-boat receives a METOX unit. Coastal Command statistics crater. Sightings drop from 37 per month to 14. The Lee light becomes expensive theater. Aircraft patrol empty ocean while submarines slip through below. German intelligence believes they've neutralized the British advantage. Donitz authorizes return to night surface operations. Wolfpack tactics resume. They're celebrating too early. March 1943. ASV Mark III radar enters service. It operates on 10-centimeter wavelength instead of 1.5 meters. METOX is frequency-specific. It cannot detect the new transmissions. The first U-boat destroyed by Mark III radar doesn't even know it's been found until the depth charges detonate. Within 6 weeks, submarine losses spiked to levels that shock German naval command. Combined with improved Allied convoy tactics and longer-range aircraft, the U-boat force hemorrhages experienced crews faster than training can replace them. German engineers respond with Naxos, a detector for 10-centimeter radar. First units deploy in September 1943. Too late. The damage is irreversible. By late 1943, American H-2X radar operates on 3-nanometer wavelength. Naxos cannot detect it. The technological race continues until war's end, but the strategic window is closed. May 1943 is remembered as Black May, 41 U-boats lost in 1 month. The Lee light didn't win the Battle of the Atlantic alone, but it cracked the door that Allied technology kicked open.
December 1944. Coastal Command operates 119 Lee light-equipped Wellingtons. The Bay of Biscay is no longer a killing field. It's a graveyard that submarines avoid. The final accounting is clinical. The Lee light is directly responsible for relatively few confirmed U-boat kills, perhaps 12 to 15 across the war. But kill counts miss the strategic revolution. Before June 1942, U-boats owned the night. After June 1942, nowhere was safe. The device forced tactical changes that cascaded into operational failure. Daytime surfacing increased detection rates. METOX created false confidence. Diving on every radar warning depleted batteries. Psychological stress degraded crew performance. Transit times through the bay increased, reducing time on patrol. The mathematics of attrition became insurmountable. Post-war analysis credits the Lee light as a key enabling technology in the broader anti-submarine campaign. Not because it sank submarines, though it did, but because it removed options. Each tactical adjustment the Germans made opened new vulnerabilities elsewhere. The legacy lives on in unexpected places. Modern anti-submarine warfare still uses searchlights for final target verification. High-intensity illumination systems on maritime patrol aircraft trace direct lineage to Lee's carbon arc prototype. Wing Commander Humphrey DeVerd Lee received the OBE, DFC, and AFC. He died in 1980, largely unknown outside military history circles. Jack Savage of Savage and Parsons received no public recognition. Pilot Officer Wiley B. Howell survived the war, became Captain Howell, commanded USS Bennington, retired with honors. The Lee light itself, a searchlight. Nothing exotic, no revolutionary science, just a really bright lamp pointed at the ocean at the exact moment it could end lives.
War is often won by unglamorous tools wielded at the right time. Every event, number, and name in this documentary has been verified through historical and documented sources.